Welcome back to the Mouse Gun Guy. Today we want to look at Derringer. This is the EIG or EIG E-16 Derringer. If it looks familiar, it should, because it is a copy of the Mossberg Brownie with some differences. The Brownie was a very good Derringer, well made. Made from 1920 to 1932, sold for $5, made Mossberg a good profitable company, got them started. The E-16 came along in the 1950s. If you read online, you can find an article on fieldandstream.com, Blast from the Past, and it talks about this EIG. I thought it was just an abbreviation, but it's actually a man's name, Saul EIG, E-I-G, whose business was known as EIG Cutlery, and he imported and sold knives from overseas. So he expanded into firearms in the 1950s, importing cheap guns. The Gun Control Act of 1968, put an end to that. But then he converted a church complex next to his Miami warehouse and made it into a gun factory. And he shipped in the parts that he used to import and assemble them in his factory there in Miami. Another report states that this later became FIE, Firearms International, but that's wrong. Firearms International was located in Washington, D.C. FIE actually stood for Firearms Import Export. Okay, so that's some of the history of the gun. We'll take a look at it and compare it to the Brownie. This release here lets it open up. You can see the 4 barrels, and there's the rotating firing pin. Of course, you have to close it in order to advance that firing pin. It's at the 130 position there, and it should rotate around to about the 1030 position. And there you can see it rotated. I'll do it one more time. Should be what, 730? Yes, there it is down about 730. So it rotates counterclockwise, the same as the Mossberg Brownie. One feature this has that the Brownie doesn't have is a nice way to knock out the empties. You got kind of a push extractor there, where the Brownie had a metal rod that went down in a slot here, and those are almost always lost. Some people would have them done, but you can just get a small metal tool or rod of some kind and knock the empties out just from the front of the barrel. You can see that the latch is a little different on the Brownie than on the E-16. It's at the top here. You can pull it back here too, where this one just comes from the top and open there. So that's a little bit different. And how do I know this is called the E-16? Because here it says use standard velocity, caliber 22, short, long rifle, FIE cartridge, long rifle, okay, long rifle cartridge, I got it. On this side, Italy, then it gives the serial number, the A13017, and has an Italian date code here. You can look those Italian date codes up to find the exact year. The metal on these is not as good as the old Brownie. The Brownie used good steel there, it's very strong, where some have described this as pot metal. I'm not exactly sure what kind of alloy that might be. It is steel, it is magnetic, but not very strong. So it's probably not as strong, and it may tend to malfunction. I don't think the durability and reliability would be nearly as good on these as on the old Brownie. Often you see these plastic grips that are chipped and flaked along the edges, and often you see the nickel flaking off on the finish here. This one is in very good condition. Very little damage on the grips, and the flaking is pretty much absent from this gun. So it's in very good condition. And the reason I know it's an E-16, even though it doesn't say so on the gun, because the box says it's a model E-16. So there you have it, the EIG E-16 4-barrel, 4-shot Derringer in .22 caliber.